What is your favorite app to listen to podcasts? This is something that people have asked me recently. They're like, where should I send brand new listeners? Where do you like to listen to your podcast? And where should I tell people to listen to my podcast? Those are all things we're going to talk about today. So let's get right to it. Hey y'all, Krystal here today, and normally we are talking about creating your podcast content and all the things that come along with that, but if you're anything like me, you also love to listen to other people's podcasts. So I had a question recently where someone asked me, what's your absolute favorite podcast listening app? And it's funny because if you had asked me a few months ago, I would have told you something totally different. For a long time, I just listened to Apple Podcasts. It was already on my phone. I've had an iPhone for several years, and it's just my natural gravitation to listen to podcasts is to open up Apple Podcast on my phone. Super easy. Then I started exploring different kinds of podcast players. And the one that I have landed on that is my absolute favorite is called Goodpods. This is so incredible. It's kind of like Goodreads, but for podcast, where you can actually have social exchanges about podcast episodes or podcast shows, the entire show that you want to tell other people about. So instead of trying to explain all of this to you, I thought I would go to my phone and walk you through exactly how I use Goodpods. So let's do it.
Like I said, I wanted to show y'all the Goodpods app, and I'm just cracking up that I have so many podcast applications, but that's a story for another day. So I'm going to go into Goodpods, and then once what you will see is this is the main feed. So it's similar to other social media platforms where you have a feed. So there is the section of people that I'm following, and then there is one that is everyone. So if I scroll through here and I find someone who is just constantly recommending amazing podcasts, then I could go follow them, or I could go check out the ones who are the people I'm already following and see what they're listening to. And then I also have people that are suggested that I should check out. And this was really cool, you guys. I got a shout out from the team Goodpods. This is what I love about this application is it's very interactive and you can have chats back and forth with other people who recommend. So this is one I realized that Rob Lowe started a podcast, and his very first interview was with Chris Pratt. I love Chris Pratt, and I love, so that's what I said is I listened to this episode, and I'll show you this in 1 second, and I put a comment about how much I enjoyed this interview with Chris Pratt because I'm a huge fan. And so Team Goodpods actually did a shout out and said, thanks, Krystal Proffitt, a big Chris Pratt fan, as it turns out, for sharing this. So how did I do this? How does all of this work? So I'm going to take you over to the profile. This is my profile right now. And what's cool is people can follow me. And anytime I listen to an episode, it will show up in my feed. And I'm going to show you. So down here where you can see it says feed, and you can customize all of this at the top real fast. So it's, Krystal Proffitt. These are my podcasts. Here's what I do. Here's what I'm all about. And you get a link. So I link to my free resource in this, in my profile, but you could put a link to your podcast or your website or another social media, whatever you wanted to link to. Okay, so let's go down to the feed. So this actually shows what I've been listening to so everybody can see. I love The Office Ladies. If you're new to me, maybe that's news for you, but I absolutely love The Office Ladies. It's my favorite podcast that I listen to every single week. And I actually have not put a comment on what I thought about this show. So I can go here and click want to share your thoughts. And I can say this episode was fantastic. Thank goodness for autocorrect, you guys. I cannot type. This episode was fantastic and super fun with Chip Easton. Okay. if you know the show and you know what this episode's about, then you would probably understand that. So he was the guest. It's Charles Easton, however you say his name, but he calls himself Chip in the episode. So I feel like I can call him Chip because he did that. So now in the news feed, it will show that I listened to this episode and this is what I thought about it. And then you can go down here. I didn't put a comment on this one. I could put loved hearing the behind the scenes from, and I really can't spell today, you guys, Mindy Kaling. She's a superstar. And then put that, share that. So now, but you can see these ratings right here. You can see I gave that a 5-star, a 5-star. This is another episode, and I can go through and put all of my comments on these. So here's one I did, Amy Porterfield. I listened to her episode. If you need email list building ideas, this episode is definitely for you. So what this does is it gives me the ability to tell other people what my number one takeaway was from a particular episode that I listened to. So let's go back. So we did our profile, right? So that is the feed. Here are all of the shows that I listen to. So these are my shows. That's right. So someone could go in and see that these are all of my latest episodes for the Potty Report and the Proffitt podcast. This is fantastic for you if you are a podcaster and you are trying to get discovered. I want you to have your podcast connected so people can see your latest episodes. So that is your own personal profile. It shows how many followers and then how many people I'm following and how many listens that I have listened to on this platform. Now let's go over to library. So we've done our profile, we've done our feed, we've done our library. Actually, wait, let's go back to the profile for a second because I want to show you here. I went up to the settings and you can actually go, where is it? Okay. I've had people say to me, I don't want to move to another platform because I listen to Apple Podcast. Well, guess what, you guys? You can actually import everything that you've ever listened to on Apple Podcast directly into Goodpods, and this saves you so much time. You don't have to hunt and peck and find all of the shows that you've listened to. So while it does that, that's fine. It can just do that in the background because I've already connected my shows, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that was an option for you to import all the shows you already listened to. But let's go to library. So these are episodes that I have not finished yet. For whatever reason, I, got distracted. I couldn't finish the entire thing. So it will always have these kind of like they're in the queue, ready to be played, ready for someone to listen to the rest of them. And then bookmarks, I don't have any of my absolute favorite episodes that I've bookmarked here. But then down here, when it says latest episodes, those are podcasts that I am already subscribed to. So if I know that my favorite episodes or my favorite podcast comes out on Wednesdays and it's Wednesday, I could go to view all, and this will show me all of the latest episodes of all of the podcasts I'm subscribed to. So if I wanted to listen to, here we go, Dax Shepard, John Legend, you just click on an episode. I could click play and immediately begin listening to this episode. So
Welcome,
click
welcome, welcome.
play, and then here it is. It's ready to go. Now, if you're listening to something and you're like, I don't really want anybody to know that I'm listening to this. Maybe you're listening to something that's controversial or it's a private thing that you're like, I don't really want to show anybody. There's a button right up here at the top that says show on my feed. You simply uncheck that and no one has to know that you listen to it. Or you can have it checked, and what will happen is once you're done listening to it, you can do a rating and a review. So I'm going to give this 5 stars. And then it will say, what did you think about it in your feed? It'll say, you listened to this. So kind of give us a takeaway. Was John Legend funny? Did they share a silly story? Or did they share like a behind the scenes that isn't anywhere else? These are the cool things that you can share. Or you can go down here to the bottom where it says share, and you can post this to my feed. You can share it, or you can do a direct recommend to friends. These are people that I'm friends with.
So I want you to tell me in the comments below, what podcast player do you prefer? Is there a certain one that you gravitate more towards others, or do you switch platforms from time to time? Which one has been your favorite go-to podcast player? Okay, let's get back to the video.
Okay, so that's how to listen to individual episodes on there. Now, what about subscriptions? These are all of the podcasts that I am subscribed to. I could go in and remove any of these at any time if I decided I didn't want to listen to them anymore. And then these show me the episodes that I have probably listened to, but have not rated them yet. So I can go in and rate them. Now, let's go to the last function, which is search. So you can search for individual people or podcast on this platform, which is super cool because they are always adding new people to this platform. I saw that some of the famous people, there's been Katie Couric. I know Simon Sinek is someone that's on here. Kim Kardashian is on here. Here we go. Kim Kardashian West. She's right there. There's a lot of people that they are trying to bring over to this platform. And then I can just go in and see, oh, here's other people, or I could search for someone individually. I can invite friends. I can find them in my contacts on Facebook, Twitter, all the places. But if you wanted to find a podcast, if you were looking for something, then this is where you would go. So you would go to the search function, go to podcast, find one that you want to subscribe to. Or you can do similar to how it is on Amazon or on Goodreads. You can choose a category and find podcasts that way. But the Goodpods team picks is one of my favorite things because these actually show up in the feed as well. And you can go to it'll say like this podcast is trending or this is a good pods team pick. So you can see what the team at Good Pods is actually listening to. So I think that it's just really cool to see because there's like a diverse group of podcasts that are usually out there. So I like to check this out from time to time to see what's new. But that does it for this tutorial. I hope that you enjoy this and that you check out Good Pods because it is really cool and I cannot wait to see what they do with this platform in the future.
So what do you think? Goodpods is kind of amazing, right? Like I love the social aspect where I can see what my friends are listening to and I can just scroll through the feed and see amazing suggestions of other podcasts that I might be interested in. Plus, I just really like the ability to really connect with other people. And I just see this platform growing exponentially over the next few months and years. So that does it for this video. Make sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up if you really enjoyed this video today. Check out these other podcasting videos right here that teach you all the tips and strategies and everything that you need to know about podcasting. Make sure you sign up for our free 5-day Create Your Podcast Bootcamp. The link is below in the description for you to check out. And remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere.